Ghostly greetings and hollering at your boy Prue. We're doing One Tough Marine, autobiography of sorts from Donald Hamlin. And this book is an autobiography, so my reviews, this one will be a little bit different. So let's get into it real quick. First of all, everyone who has served, is serving, and is planning on serving, thank you so much for serving the country. Let's just get that out of the way real quick. I don't want to cause no ruckus in that area. I just wanted to say thank you for that. But now let's get to the book. Let's get to the heat of the matter, the thick of things while we're here. This book starts off very young. The guy in this book starts off very young, and it goes through his life. The first 150 pages were basically an air show and training, growing up on a farm, stuff like that. Talked about his barber, how he did chores and paid for his barber, which I thought was cool. So the early parts of the book definitely set up a very humble person. To me, he seems very humble. Like he doesn't make an extraordinarily big deal out of himself, even recollecting the events. Because even things like a simple haircut, he remembers. So that definitely hit me as something cool. Just the humility of all things. Because it's kind of weird that you're a Marine and you've seen some weird stuff in the first recon, but you remember like a haircut and going to an air show and stuff like that. So that part I really liked. The way the book is written, though, after you got into sort of the thick of things, the pacing did backpedal a bit. It slowed down with the pacing. So at first, like, well, man, 150 pages. I read like 50 pages of this in the parking lot while my wife went in and shopped. So I'm like, well, this is going to fly by real quick. If I can read 50 pages in this amount of time, I have this done. Nope, sadly, I did not. The last 100 or so pages definitely was a little less paced forward. Which is odd, because on Goodreads, everyone kind of disagreed with that. Oh well, teach their own. It's all opinion-based. Normally right now I talk about the characters. I'd feel vulgar doing that, because he's not a character. He was a real person. So I'm going to talk about some of the events in the book that I enjoyed. Obviously, like I said, the young parts where he's growing up and prior to joining the Marine Corps and getting his mom to like sign a note and stuff. Those parts I found interesting. And the first recon Marines, those parts I found interesting. And in the hospital, after he's in the hospital, I don't want to say why, spoiler for the book, but while he was in the hospital, I found the humor in that part to be very funny. Not that this is a funny book, but I thought that the humorous of it, along with the humility of the writer, made it like, oh, he's being humble and funny. This seems like a fun guy. Okay. But the parts I didn't like. Okay, there's a part where like they're training for Korea, and there's a part when he goes to DC. Those parts I was like those parts drug to me. And I don't know why. I don't know if the writer was less enthused right there, or if I was just too tired. But those parts drug to me. That part was just a really slow read. One thing I will note is that there are indeed pictures, not many, in here of him and his unit and whatnot. And I checked this out from the library. I did not buy it. So it was cool that the library had this on stock. I didn't imagine there'd be a high demand for this. But some of the like nature photographs, I always like whenever there's like a drop-in picture of like nature. So like you see like a big tank and then you see like the wide mountain ranges and you're like, wow, that puts a lot into perspective. Because if there's a massive tank but it looks like an ant, then you just know how big that area actually is that they were fighting on. Other than that, I don't know what else to say about this book. I'm going to give it 3 stars. If you're interested joining or in the Marine Corps, solid, definite read. If you're just into like Army books, this is a solid read. But if you're like me and you usually read a more scientific, sci-fi, fantasy, fantastical reading, you're probably not going to pick this one up. You're probably not going to read it. Also for me though, I like the armed forces. I enjoy autobiographies. I have another one I plan on reading. I think I'm going to try to do once a month or once every 2 months, whenever I can finish it. I think I'm going to try to do more autobiographies on the channel. I got a real good one of Charles Manson. I got one of Jeffrey Dahmer. Serial killers, of course, I own. A book about a Marine, I did not. But it's been your boy Prue. I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 stars. If you're into the military and you're interested in military aspects, this is a solid read. But most of my people, By my people, I mean people who subscribe. I think a lot of my people on here are going to be like, no, I just want creepy shit, and they don't do autobiography, which is fine. As a whole, I don't see a whole lot of nonfiction love on YouTube. So I can't really, I mean, I don't know if there isn't. If there is a good nonfiction YouTuber, please let me know. I'll check him out. I personally don't get super into nonfiction, and the discussions I've had with people also did not seem to get too crazy into nonfiction. It's been your boy Prue. I want to say stay creepy, but this isn't a creepy book. It's not a biography. So I just want to say thank you for your service. This isn't a bad read. Thank you again. Also, thank your families, because I imagine his mom and dad and stuff went through some really hard times while he was gone, and he didn't get to be there. That's what sucks the most. It's been your boy Prue, and this has been my first nonfiction review, and I did my best. 3 out of 5 stars. Not the best, not the worst. Deuces.